You know how we're all born into a random time and place against our will, and we end up learning and following the rules, conventions, and behaviors of the people of this specific time and place. And for our whole life, we just get stuck with this one tiny, narrow perspective with very specific, usually arbitrary problems, even though we're all really just a big bundle of energy which has been put on this old rock which has so much more to offer. Well, I don't really think that's fair, and I want to experience more than that. I don't want to just experience life from the point of view of a girl born on the west coast of Ireland in the year 1998, even if it is probably one of the best times and places to be born in. And even though this time and place I was born in does allow me to easily travel the world and therefore meet new people, expand my perspective, it's still really difficult to escape the stress and exhaustion that comes with living as one human being for your whole life, weighed down by fears, sad memories, insecurities, and worries. So I want to make this video to express this and my solutions for overcoming it. The only way I can think to put this idea into words is coming out of myself, and this idea really needs to be split in two. Part 1 is coming out of my head, and part 2 is coming out of myself. And I want to make this video to remind me to do this and how to do this, because to be honest, I'm not very good at it. So part 1 is coming out of my head. This idea is linked to the fact that I, as a human being in the year 2023, live mostly in my head. My body has a very small role in my life. Not only am I reminded of this every rare time I meditate or do yoga or really any form of exercise, but recently it's come up in a lot of things I'm reading and listening to, so I wanted to share some quotes. Humans are similar to other domesticated animals. We have bred docile cows that produce enormous amounts of milk, but are otherwise inferior to their wild ancestors. They are less agile, less curious, and less resourceful. During the last century, technology has been distancing us from our bodies. We've been losing our ability to pay attention to what we smell and taste. Instead, we are absorbed in our smartphone and computers. We are more interested in what is happening in cyberspace than what is happening down the street. In the past, humans could not afford such carelessness. Ancient foragers were always alert and attentive. Wandering in the forest in search of mushrooms, they watched the ground for any telltale budge. They listened to the slightest movement in the grass to learn whether a snake might be lurking there. Members of today's affluent societies don't need such keen awareness. We can wander between the supermarket aisles while texting messages, and we can buy any of 1,000 dishes, all supervised by the health authorities. But whatever we choose, we might end up eating it in haste in front of a screen, checking emails or watching television, while hardly paying attention to the actual taste. People estranged from their bodies, senses, and physical environment are likely to feel alienated and disorientated. If you don't feel at home in your body, you will never feel at home in the world. Living as Miguel and I have in close contact with the Indian, we are constantly aware of our past and more easily witness to the horrific destiny of that man of the future. Our progress is without a doubt a progressive deterioration of man as a totality. One of the aspects of the Indians that impresses us the most is their exuberant vitality. The body of an Indian who lives in harmony with nature is robust, agile, and beautiful, in spite of, or maybe because of the fact that they do not eat in great quantities. An Indian has an almost inexhaustible energy. I often feel guilty that I ignore my body so much, especially when it's so good to me. So I want to come out of my head and into my body more. The best ways for me to do this include hiking, outdoor yoga, and climbing. Hiking gives me the opportunity to appreciate nature, all thanks to my body. My feet and legs push me upwards and forwards, and my heart beats hard in my chest, circulating blood and giving me energy. Doing yoga, especially outdoors, again allows me to appreciate nature, but in a slow, patient way. I stretch my muscles and feel myself grow more comfortable each time I exhale and let my body sink further into whatever position, remembering that it's okay to feel some stretch and some tension. Climbing gives me a chance to really connect with my body and my inner child. I can feel my life in my hands, and it forces me to have trust in my body and in my own strength. Part 2 is about coming out of myself entirely. This is more related to the fact that I have only one life, one perspective, and I want more. There are 3 levels to this. Level 1 is coming out of myself and catching a glimpse into the lives and perspectives of other people. And I can do this by traveling and living abroad and reading books that show a totally different life. Level 2 is stepping back from what is normal and common in daily life, because what is normal and common in daily life is totally arbitrary. I can do this by watching films, especially the bizarre ones that make no sense and that you think of for days after, as well as experiencing music that give you goosebumps and taking note of those coincidences that happen in life sometimes. Level 3 is about forgetting the human experience in general, letting go of the ego and all that. This is of course much more difficult and unattainable, but at least trying is a good way to feel grounded. This, I guess, can only be done by meditation, something I haven't yet gotten the hang of, but I want to share some quotes that capture the idea. In the forest, there's an incomprehensible order that to the mind looks like chaos. It is beyond the mental categories of good and bad. You cannot understand it through thought, but you can sense it when you let go of thought, become still and alert, and don't try to understand or explain. Only then can you be aware of the sacredness of the forest. As soon as you sense that hidden harmony, that sacredness, you realize that you are not separate from it, and when you realize that, you become a conscious participant in it. In this way, nature can help you become realigned with the wholeness of life.
You are not your mind. Put simply, your thoughts are transient. So you might be angry, but that is not you. That comes and that goes. The often used analogy is they are clouds. They're clouds that are passing through your consciousness. So at any one point you might identify with the thought, but that's not you. It passes. And there's a you that is the sunshine behind that cloud that is ever present.
Yeah.
Pretty succinct that one.
And that's very good. I'm very impressed with the way you read that. But I'm always fascinated when people say things like this. I think it's an ant or some, you know what I'm like with me animals and me insects. I always like to bring it back to those. There is some creature, I think it's the ant. When ants cross water, some of them will build a bridge. Hundreds of thousands of them will build bridges out of themselves for the others to cross, and in the process they will die, they will drown. And as humans we go, that is unbelievable that they could sacrifice themselves like that. But that's only because we are the creatures that don't see themselves as all connected. They just go, well, it doesn't matter that I'm dying because I'm not dying, I'm connected with the one that's living. Is that fairly succinct?
That was good. I didn't know that story about the ants.
I might have made it up.
This idea, coming out of myself, has a lot to it, but overall I would say it's about being grounded. This idea helps me feel better in so many ways. It's inspiring in the way that it pushes me to take care of and strengthen my body. It's a comfort to me in that it makes me realize that my problems, worries and stresses are universal. They don't need to be such a big deal, and they will pass, and they are necessary for me to grow and to learn. It's exciting in the way that it opens up possibilities to experience more from this life. And I think it's important because I think it's a necessary step for everyone in this modern society to take in order to start undoing the damage that we've done to our planet. I'm aware that it's very hypocritical of me to be saying all of this. I'm one of the worst for craving material things, complaining about insignificant problems, and being too lazy or fragile to enjoy nature. But I know this is what I should be striving for, and that's what this video is, a reminder. A reminder to take a step back from myself, from my life, my memories, my values, my problems. Because in the end, we're all just one and the same.
But yeah, just your body. I think your mind. I'm sat here talking to you. I'm not meditating. None of these things are bothering me, and yet when I'm still, they bother me because your egoic mind is going. Hang on, he's eliminating me from the process. I know what annoys him. Socks. I'm pretend they're tight. They're tight, you know, mate. You want to sort them out. Yeah. Oh, you got an itchy face. Oh, hello. Is your underpants going up your bum? What about your sticky armpit?